San Antonio FC begins their 5th season in the USL Championship as its opening night here at Toyota Field. Bernie's own Blake Smith, one of several newcomers to the San Antonio FC roster. It includes Argentinians Gonzalo Lorenzo and old face and keeper Matt Cardoni and Lucha Solignac of the Chicago Fire, part of the new mix. San Antonio FC starts their run for a potential USL Championship as they welcome in the defending champions, Real Monarchs SLC. We have it on Fox Sports Southwest. And a pleasant good evening, everyone. Welcome upstairs to the broadcast booth with the coach Tim Hankinson. I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us, our first of 10 telecasts this season here on Fox Sports Southwest. Well, Tim, San Antonio FC a year ago missing the playoffs by just 1 point and coming into a 2020 season where 7 returnees from the squad a year ago, but many new faces, including head coach Alan Marcina, will take over at the helm this year.
Yeah, Alan Marcina, I know him very well. A former assistant of mine, has won a championship in the NASL. He knows what pro ball and winning is all about. And, you know, after 8 weeks of putting these guys through the grinders, he's got his plan in place, and now this is the night to showcase it.
So we take a look at both the returning faces and some of the new faces here for San Antonio FC. And of the returnees, we mentioned Matt Cardoni at the top of Christian Pirano, the 2019 USL Young Championship Player of the Year. And of some of the new faces, 5 new players with Major League Soccer experience, Tim, that'll be a part of this club.
Yeah, you know, it's great to have that experience coming in, but it's really about how many games you get together working on the tactical concepts, getting on the same page, and gelling.
As for Matt Cardoni, as he becomes the lone player to begin the San Antonio FC squad back in 2016 and stays with the club here now for his 5th season in 2020. Here's a guy, Tim, as he has become not only the face of this franchise, but one of the best keepers in the USL. As you take a look at his numbers, 15 clean sheets as a member of San Antonio FC.
Yeah, you know, we love player development. This is a big philosophy of San Antonio FC. And, you know, I remember when he was at Trinity University at the local college here. And, you know, he's one of the inaugural members from 2016. But now this year, he is the man, or as some fans would say, the beard. Yeah. But he is the man that has to make the statement. He's been a part of this club from the beginning like no other player on this field tonight. And so it's very important he play big.
Well, no bigger test for San Antonio FC out of the gate than taking on the defending USL champions, Real Monarchs SLC, who made a magnificent run to capturing their first championship a year ago. Tim, what do you expect? What are the keys tonight for San Antonio FC in week 1? Well,
I mean, obviously, Real comes in with this know-how. They have a groomed team from a championship experience. So many new players tonight with San Antonio. So the key is to focus on the job, focus on the game plan, and as a group, excite the fans with your fighting spirit and get things off rocking tonight.
San Antonio FC, Real Monarchs SLC should be a fun one here tonight at Toyota Field. Faces new and old to the San Antonio FC club. We'll take a look at our starting 11s and have kickoff when we return on Fox Sports Southwest.
$7.99 gets you a large 3-top and the only box that gives you a chance to go head-to-head with Aaron Donald.
I'll take it easy on you. See, that was easy.
One of millions of prizes you could win from Pizza Hut when you play Hut Hut Win. You can't have football without the Hut.
What does adventure feel like? At SeaWorld, it's dropping 100 feet on the tallest and fastest wooden coaster in the state and getting up close with amazing sea animals. Then, racing down an exhilarating double-slide water ride, the first of its kind in Texas. Get more amazing thrills than ever before at SeaWorld and Aquatica San Antonio. Buy a SeaWorld annual pass and get Aquatica free. Hurry, offer ends soon. SeaWorld San Antonio, real amazing.
Hold my beer. Actually. Budweiser Reserve Copper Lager. There's a new bud in town.
Wow, it's just like a picture.
Yippee-ki-yay, retired friend. We got coyote roping.
Come on, you varmint.
We also have goat yoga. And finally, the Spurs Chug Wagon with all the best HEV Primo picks.
Nice chops, Bruce.
Thanks, TP. Here, I made you a plate.
May I present to you your HEV?
I love it here.
HEB Primo Picks. Legendary Texas taste for legendary gatherings.
Where's David?
Practicing his axe throwing.
Welcome back. Week 1 of the USL Championship campaign. 2020 San Antonio FC taking on Real Monarchs SLC. Your starting 11 for San Antonio, anchored by Matt Cardoni, 12, 12, and 9 a year ago. And up top, Luis Solignac, who has appeared in 90 Major League Soccer games. His first match, though, since 2018. And we look at Real Monarchs SLC from a year ago after they went 16, 10, and 8, finished 4th, but then winning the USL Championship over Louisville City. David Ochoa was in net for that championship, anchors the team once again. And a couple of returnees from their squad. In fact, they have 12 returnees as we are underway, along with the coach, Tim Hankinson, our entire crew. I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us here tonight on Fox Sports Southwest. Week 1 of the 2020 USL Championship campaign, San Antonio FC and Real Monarchs SLC. Tonight's starting kickoff presented by Pizza Hut. San Antonio FC featuring their new primary kits, Tim, and their thing of beauties, red and black checkered with a white trim.
So let's hope those checkers get them across the finish line.
That's a good point. Real Monarchs SLC and their away white kits trimmed in blue. They are the USL Championship affiliate of Real Salt Lake of Major League Soccer in their 6th season. San Antonio FC beginning their 5th season. Early confrontation over at the far touchline.
You can see early the two systems matching up. You've got San Antonio coming out in a 3-5-2, a 3-back system, which basically is a 5-back system once the wide players in the midfield drop alongside the 3 center backs, versus Real Monarchs coming out in a 4-3-3, triangle in the midfield, 2 wingers, and otherwise very interesting tactical scenarios because the numerical advantages for Real are in the wide areas. So it's going to pin those wide midfielders back quite a bit. And if they don't get back into those spots, it starts to stretch the 3 center backs. So it'll be interesting to watch how this develops.
San Antonio last year finished 1 point below the playoff line, 12 wins against 9 draws, 13 defeats, but they were exceptional at home as they've been throughout their first 4 years in the USL. 9 wins against 6 draws, just 2 losses, an all-time at Toyota Field. 34 victories, 21 draws, and just 10 defeats here, which has arguably become one of the toughest plays for any opposing club here in the Western Conference.
And they've shown very well in openers. I think the last 4 years, they're undefeated in opening home games. So it certainly plays great probability in favor of San Antonio tonight.
Connor Maloney makes the throw. He is one of those 5 new Major League Soccer players who are here with San Antonio FC. Maloney last year spending time with the Columbus Crew. Making the run upfield here and keeping it in play was Blake Smith, but it'll result in a goal kick. Blake Smith, 29 years of age. As we said, a native of Boerne, Texas. He was the San Antonio Express News High School Player of the Year for Boerne champion back in 2009. Former 8th overall pick by the Montreal Impact in 2013. Was part of FC Cincinnati's record-setting campaign 2 years ago, Tim, in the USL. And then when Cincinnati went to Major League Soccer, Blake Smith went along for the ride, but you see the difference of being in the USL Major League Soccer. He was waived after the first few games of the season, which got off to a rocky start for Cincinnati.
Well, and you know, expansion is never easy, as how you fit in and what they're looking for with the new coaching staff. You know, 25 new players. You know, you don't know the depth chart when you're first selected, and once you get into training camp, you may find yourself on the outside. But the USL, this is where it's at. I mean, for these players to come in and get competitive games, and it's a proving ground to get back up to the Major League level.
Luis Solignac, first touch, and it's his first touch in a year and a half. He has not played competitive soccer since 2018, had hip surgeries, both hips,
back at the end of 2018. They kept him out all of last year. And it's good to see not only him back playing soccer, but here down in San Antonio at the USL level, a player so dynamic up top, 12 goals in his Major League Soccer career that spanned 5 seasons with the Chicago Fire.
And if you can do it at that level, you can do it at any level. You know, there are a lot of players who struggle to score at the Major League level, but they can come into the USL and put up the numbers. The fact that he has proved himself at that level means he's going to be a dynamic player to watch this year.
And we'll see for San Antonio FC and Alan Marcina, who told me earlier this week in training that the 2 keys for his club this year is playing aggressive both on and off the ball. And what he said, playing ruthless inside the final third of the field on both sides. He wants this team to play with pace and play an up-tempo style.
Yeah, you know, it's when you say play dynamic in each one of the boxes or aggressive in each one of the boxes, we talk often about using the word being a playmaker. And a playmaker, most people conclude that, well, he's talking offensively. But playmaking is also defensively, stepping up, blocking shots, making the tackles, being the first in the air, showing greater desire. And if you can do that in the box at each end of the field, you're going to get a lot of points.
Alan Marcina has been part of this organization for the last couple of years, first with the academy, and then last year as an assistant to Darren Powell. Overall, though, in his 6th year as a head coach, an overall record 48 wins, 21 draws, 35 defeats.
Well, and you also have to remember that Alan as a player was an attacking player, a striker, an attacking midfielder, very dynamic, taking players on, and I think we'll see his personality imprint on this team. You know, last year they scored 62 goals, which is in the top 10 scoring teams in the entire league. And I think this is a team that Alan's going to want to build on that number and start to increase it and get to that 70-goal mark, 75 goals, and make teams worry about them.
They were tied for 8th overall with those 62 goals. Real Monarchs SLC was 2nd in the championship, 84 goals a year ago. And what a run it was for Real Monarchs SLC going to their first title, a 3-1 victory over Louisville City, the first USL championship side to win a championship on the road, as hauled down the 18-year-old Jose Gallegos, who a couple weeks ago, another feather in the cap for San Antonio FC's Pro Academy as he signs a pro contract, part of their elite training program, as one of the older players. Central Catholic High School, still in high school, Tim. He's still finishing out that senior year before he fully becomes a pro. Thought about going the collegiate route, but San Antonio FC happy to have him on the first team.
Well, this is always the controversy about, you know, waiting to turn pro until after college, is that you lose some of the experiences that you gain as a young pro, and coming in to the San Antonio system to become a young pro and understand what being a professional is and the culture that's created that you become a part of accelerates your growth as a player. And he's showing right now his acceleration was to put him in the starting 11 to start the opener of the 2020 season.
1 goal last year and 14 appearances for Gallegos. It was a big one, a game winner against Reno 1868 in June that kind of changed San Antonio FC's season around. They had really struggled to score in the first half of the year and then became an offensive juggernaut by the time the season ended. As Connor Maloney boots it upfield and settled over there by Ashton Morgan. It'll be a throw for San Antonio FC. Jamison Olave, after finally winning a USL championship, was officially given the job as head coach. He was twice an interim with Real Monarchs SLC, first taking over for Mark Briggs back in 2018, and then last year replacing Martin Vasquez on July 1st. And so finally, after winning a championship, Tim, they decided, you know what? I think he's good enough to get the job full-time.
Yeah, they have a lot of confidence in him, though. You may remember him being a star player for Real Salt Lake when they won the MLS Cup, and he was Defender of the Year. And right now, he's in the list of candidates to be selected into the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. So between him being a center back and Coach Marcina being an attacking player, these are two of the best young minds in the game right now.
It's going to be a fun weekend across the championship in terms of great former U.S. soccer players now taking over at the helm of teams as We saw last year Eric Winalda coaching Las Vegas Lights. This year, Landon Donovan, a part of San Diego. Tim Howard, which might be my favorite story here as we begin the championship season, the 10th anniversary championship season. Not only the technical director in Memphis, but also now an active goalkeeper for the club in Memphis as well, coming out of retirement.
This is going to be a fun season watching Landon get his feet wet as a first-time head coach. And Timmy's such a great keeper. I had him in one game in Project 40 when he was 18 years old, and that's all I got of him, one game, because the rest is history going on with the Metro Stars of MLS and then off to Manchester United. So what a story he is, and it'll be fun to see him back on the park. And at that position...
What a ball by Gallegos, and just off the post! Unable to finish Gonzalo Lorenzo as he nearly tucked it in with that left foot.
I was saying at that position of goalkeeper, you can extend your career, and so I don't think this will be a one and done for Timmy. We'll see him for a few more years here.
Meanwhile, back upfield, that's Kyle Coffey, the injured player for Real Monarchs. What a great turn by Gallegos and a great ball finding Gonzalo Lorenzo.
You know, these are the things we talked about in the pregame where missing the playoffs by 1 point. It's moments like that where a ball nicks off the post that might be the difference maker, 34 games down the season. So, putting those balls in are so vital in the final results at the end of the season to get into the playoffs.
San Antonio FC a year ago, so dynamic in the opening quarter hour of the match. I'd go back and look at the notes, but I believe somewhere in the neighborhood of 19 goals in the opening quarter hour of a match last season, and they were just outstanding in getting off on their front foot to begin things, and hopefully that's a trend that'll continue this year again with the new aggressive style for Alan Marcina at the helm.
Yeah, I know that your conversation with Alan was about wanting to be a pressing team, and we've seen it at one moment in the build-up with the new FIFA laws where defenders for a goal kick can stand inside the box. But San Antonio had both of their strikers standing right at the top of the box, not allowing them to play out. So that aggressive style is going to keep teams on their heels. And those teams that try to play with the confidence to play the short build-up and the passing out of the box to build up play, you're going to see mistakes, turnovers close to the goal, and these can result in goals.
Kyle Coffey will return to the match after subbing out momentarily. He's okay, no worse for wear. Coffey in his second year out of the University of Washington, 6 goals a year ago for Coffey. And a goal kick here once again for David Ochoa, the 19-year-old out of St. Louis, Missouri. And obviously, you backstop a club to a championship at what was then 18 years of age. You've got a heck of a career in front of you, and Real Salt Lake has really got a great find in this young keeper, David Ochoa.
Ochoa is probably going to be our Olympic keeper. He's a part of that player pool, as are many young Americans, but I think he could very much be the starter going into the Olympic play.
27 goals allowed a year ago, 4 clean sheets, a 1.32 goals against average. He did take the loss here in San Antonio last year, SAFC winning at 3-1 back on July 27th. And in fact, San Antonio FC has never lost here at home to Real Monarchs SLC all time. This is the 8th match between the two clubs. SAFC with a record of 4 victories, 1 draw, 2 defeats lifetime against Real. th minute early on here at Toyota Field as the fans continue to file in for opening night, the earliest opening night. And say what I love about the USL Championship now that it's 35 teams over 33 weeks in a longer calendar as we begin the season the first Saturday in March. And that means probably the best conditions we'll ever have here at Toyota Field. 60 degrees tonight, light breeze out of the east-southeast, 8 miles an hour, no humidity. It will not get any better than this, I guarantee it, as we go later on in the season.
No, and actually the cooler temperature is very favorable to the way San Antonio wants to play with a pressuring game. That makes a greater demand on your fuel because of the workload. And a night like tonight, unlike we may see in the middle of the summer where you're playing in 90 to 100 degree heat, this is without question perfect conditions.
Lorenzo turns a header wide of frame. 2 opportunities early on for Gonzalo Lorenzo as he's on loan from Club Atlético Lanús out of the Argentinian First Division. 24-year-old in his 6th pro season, 78 pro games last year, playing with Deportivo Lara in the second division in Argentina. Nearly a giveaway on the back end. San Antonio FC able to escape pressure. And getting forward with it here up the wing is Gallegos. Jose Gallegos making the turn inside. As SAFC will regroup, Solignac finding Blake Smith getting forward, corner of the box. Actalucho Solignac will chip one into the box, and that is cleared out of harm's way. Settled by Callum Montgomery, who's on loan from FC Dallas, and San Antonio FC is going to have an opportunistic set piece here as a yellow has been shown to Taylor P., the captain for Real Monarchs SLC. It's actually not P, rather, it's Eric Holt, second-year center back from San Diego, part of their academy.
Yeah, that's what we see opening night, a little bit overzealous. It wasn't the body contact, but it was more the arm reaching around that grabbed our player and created the foul. Not the area you want to commit fouls this early in the game or at any time during the game. And this is where the opening night nerves and added energy just need to calm to make good decisions.
And an opportunity for San Antonio FC is Hayden Partain, former Sacramento Republic midfielder. Over the ball here on the left side. Just past the first quarter hour, San Antonio looking to get on the board, and the strike is parried away. And a good look as it was taken by PC with a left strike as he was opposite Partain over the ball.
Now this is where it's interesting to see some of our new players. Is we have a number of backs that are very tall, like the player Axel, number 24, on loan from Columbus Crew, 6'7" center back in the box on corner. Certainly a big advantage for San Antonio.
He has delivered in his neighborhood and headed away. It'll be another throw for San Antonio FC. PC getting the first good shot attempt on frame there. That was fought off by David Ochoa. Victor PC Euro. More on him in just a second of how he got the name PC, and while you'll see it on his kit all season as another corner earned by San Antonio FC. Hayden Partain in his fourth season. He's a native of Frisco, Texas, has played his entire career with Sacramento Republic, 5 goals over 49 USL matches. One of 2 former Sac Republic players, along with Mitchell Tainer wearing number 20, that are now part of San Antonio's roster. SAFC still getting forward here. What a run into the box. Gallegos!
It's a great run to penetrate, forcing those defenders to overcommit.
Jose Gallegos already has captured a state title this year for Central Catholic. He would love to add a USL championship to his trophy box as well.
No, he's an outstanding young talent, as many of the young developing players are. Christian Pirano, who's not available tonight, but we saw him last year and what he brought to the table.
You mentioned Christian Pirano is one of several San Antonio FC returnees that are out of the lineup tonight with injury. And that includes Kai Green and Josh Yarrow, both out of the lineup due to injury. Hunter Gorski as well, one of the new center backs San Antonio FC acquired in the offseason, is also out. So some early injury troubles early on here.
But what I like about Christian's arrival this year, or last year, was the fact that he's almost started a Argentinian connection, a pipeline, as we've, with Dorenzo and others. It's great to have that players from the same similar background. I think it helps them adapt and get their game off the ground early in the season.
7 goals in 32 matches a year ago for Christian Pirano. Did not score his first goal until July and then just went on a tear. But he was tied for second on the club, 53 chances created a year ago, and was very deservedly awarded the 2019 USL Championship Young Player of the Year award. This is going to be a foul on Callum Montgomery as he gets over the back of youngster Milan Oloski. Yeah,
it's not always the older, experienced players that surprise you, but but the younger ones, just like Pirano for SAFC, being a young central playmaker in that kind of classic number 10 role. You also see a player like Arturo Rodriguez for the Monarchs, who last year for North Texas, who probably has the best academy system in the country for FC Dallas. He was the USL Player of the Year and now has transferred into the Monarch system, and he's on the park tonight, so it's going to be exciting to watch him.
Monarchs are earning their first corner here. Yeah, Arturo Rodriguez wearing number 60. Actually, it'll be a goal kick. Rodriguez, last year you mentioned the League One MVP, as well as the Young Player of the Year with 8 goals in 30 matches, 21-year-old, led North Texas to a championship last year in League One as well. Callum Montgomery, wearing number 3 for San Antonio FC, was also part of that roster too. We mentioned he's on loan from FC Dallas. He was the number 4 overall pick by Dallas back in the 2019 Major League Soccer Super Draft. Good sliding challenge there by Gonzalo Lorenzo, and coming over quickly was Eric Holt. Keeps San Antonio FC out by the touchline for a throw. Blake Smith will come over to take it here. It's been all San Antonio FC here through the first 20 minutes. Barely a peep on the offensive end early on for Real Monarchs SLC. A good sign early on for the home side. A challenge by the veteran Alvin Jones there. And that'll earn San Antonio FC their 3rd corner here already through the first 20 minutes. An area San Antonio struggled with last year, set pieces, as Gallegos, the right-footed in-swinger, will take it here from the near flag.
I've seen the first 2 corners cut out with the near post defenders, so hopefully they can get past that first line of defense and get on the end of things.
And Axel Schubert, the 6'7" center back, in the middle of things there, wearing number 24 for SAFC. Like to get on the end of one here.
Very difficult for the keeper, Ochoa, being in the crowd. No
Schubert
room to operate.
Just towers over everyone there. Gallegos, delivery to the near post and headed into section 114. We'll do it again. San Antonio trying to break through early here, Coach.
Yeah, just trying to get that service over that first line of defenders. It's a little bit like get it up in the air and let our guys go up and find it. We've got the height, some advantages there we need to take advantage of.
Gallegos, short play this time, and this is boomed away from the box. And settled back by Blake Smith. Tried to give and go with Gallegos, stepping up to intercept, however, was Real Monarchs, and their first real opportunity at a counter, and a good recovery there is Luke Mulholland has it taken away by Hayden Partain. Well, San Antonio FC Spurs night is coming up on Saturday, March 21st against Phoenix Rising FC at 7:30. You can get a ticket and t-shirt package starting at just $20. For tickets, go to sanantoniofc.com/promotions. You can download the official SAFC app. Spurs giveaways, championship trophies, the Coyote, and my buddy Matt Bonner will all be on hand for that one. Alvin Jones with a throw into the box. Again, very little offer in terms of the way of resistance or pressure early on from Real Monarchs, and a hard challenge thrown there by Mulholland, and he'll be shown, it looks like, yellow here.
Luke Mulholland, very experienced player, been in Major League with the Monarchs. Started out in Fort Lauderdale with the Strikers, Tampa Bay Rowdies, of the NASL, and has made a great career for himself. Had to coach against him many times. He is a brain. He's got a soccer mind on the park.
Challenge there on Gonzalo Lorenzo as Mulholland goes into the books here in the 23rd minute. 2 yellows already for the visitors here.
Yeah, we're past the 20th minute, and both teams have come out with their game plan. A lot of energy, over anxious start of the season. 3 points on the line, no longer exhibition games like you experienced preseason. But now it's time for teams to settle and start to think about building their possession, relax a little bit. We didn't get the early goal as we had all hoped. And yet the tension and the anxiousness to try and get that first goal of the season, to break the ice like that and lock the confidence in is still a part of what's going on. through their veins, but right now it should be possess, slow it down a little bit, and start to control the tempo of the game.
And you see Coach San Antonio FC right now beautifully in their shape in the 3-5-2 there. Tainer out wide on the right side. PC holding back in that number 6 position. San Antonio kind of just picking and choosing their spots here to get forward. Connor Maloney, good drop off there as Gallegos will return it to Maloney here. And Maloney concedes possession. The Real Monarchs, on the other hand, are settling back in more of a 4-4-3 here at this point. Obviously, you'd figured the home crowd behind San Antonio FC, Real was probably going to have to defend more here a little bit early on, especially being the roadside, not a surprise.
Right, and you know, you don't have prior videotape from last week or the week before of how San Antonio is going to come out and play. A lot of new players, new ideas, new coach. So what's important for the Monarchs is to be patient, absorb a little bit, stay organized defensively, and it's a feel-out process. At halftime, new information, probably a different approach in the second half, but for them as champions, be patient and just settle into the game.
PC over the ball, 26-year-old from Sao Paulo, Brazil. He gets his nickname PC from a player he used to play with back in his young days, Pablo Cesar in Corinthians in the Brazilian academy. And apparently he looked like Pablo Cesar, who was also known as PC, as Partain chips that one forward and cleared away. Because he looked like PC, the name stuck with him. So he is not Pablo Cesar, he is Victor Euro. But he goes by PC everywhere he goes.
I love the Brazilian single names. But PC, again, a very experienced player. His natural position is more as a left back or left wing midfielder. And I will say, having coached against him many times in the NASL, is the education of his left foot. He has a brilliant surface. And actually in that last kick, again, we saw another service on a free kick fall short of clearing the first line of defense. I'd really like to see PC in the next opportunity to get on the ball because his placement is almost perfect.
Mitchell Tainer, Axel Schuberg, a part of the best 11 in the Major League Soccer ranks back in 2016, playing for Colorado Rapids. Gallegos, Partain working the combination in the middle of the park. Kyle Coffey coming back here. But San Antonio FC will keep possession. Callum Montgomery as they'll play it out wide on the right side. Mitchell Tainer. Tainer will find Solignac corner of the box here. And the flag was up on Solignac in an offside position.
But, you know, I like the fact that he tests the offside line. I always compliment our players when we fall offside rather than get frustrated at it because it means they're testing the line. If you're playing it safe and always staying in an onside spot, you're not testing. And when you test it, those defenders start to question, should I drop, should I hold, should I step up? And when you get defenders having to make those decisions, some of them are going to be right, but you're looking for that one time that they're wrong and it's the breakaway.
Throw here for Monarchs. They've lost some of their top players from a year ago, including Douglas Martinez, who was their leading scorer. Michael Chang has graduated, along with Justin Portillo, to Real Salt Lake full-time, and that certainly will hurt them experience-wise, but as most Major League Soccer teams continue to do, they develop through their academies and then get playing time at the USL Championship level in order to develop and get up to Major League Soccer. But what Real does so well is they surround those players with good veterans. As you mentioned, Luke Mulholland up front and Alvin Jones brought in, the Trinidad and Tobago native, on the back end there. So plenty of talent here for Real Monarchs as they look to try to go back-to-back in terms of championships. No easy feat, though, in the USL.
No, I think the other thing you see with the teams in Major League that have their reserve teams playing in USL Championship League or USL 1 is the continuity, the integration of ideas. Is whatever the first team is playing, meaning the Real Salt Lake, you are also going to see that integrated into the system of play, the style of play, how we defend when we lose a ball in a certain area of the park. All of this is translated and trickled down. So even though the Monarchs may interchange players from first team to this team, the ideas are the same. With San Antonio, you know, you have a new coach coming in, new players, the ideas, the concepts of play, how we're going to defend, how we're going to attack, when are we going to press, what are our triggers. to know when we all go forward and put pressure. When do we release that pressure and drop back? It takes time for a new group like this to get all that down.
Noah Powder gives it a go for the first attempt on frame, and taken easily by Matt Cardoni. Cardoni now 26 years of age. He's the last player remaining from the inaugural San Antonio FC squad back in 2016 that initially was backstopped by Josh Ford going back to those days. Cardoni, of course, came on late in the season as an injury replacement for Ford, and then the following year Matt gets injured early in the season in Colorado Springs. He relinquishes things to Diego Restrepo, and then Diego, of course, becomes keeper of the year in 2017. And you think, well, maybe Matt's days in San Antonio are not long, but the way this game goes, Matt finds himself back in the main keeper position by the middle of 2018, and last year he plays all but one USL Championship match for San Antonio.
You know, you always have to give the player so much of the credit for the determination, the discipline, the stick with it attitude when you're a reserve and start, and then back to reserve and start. But I also have to give kudos to his goalkeeper coach, Juan La Madrid, who has been with him since coaching him at Trinity straight through his pro career. And that continuity for a young keeper, developing keeper, or player in general really helps accelerate his growth to keep that consistency.
Noah Powder, left-footed in swinger, will play it short here as he'll get it back. Chips one towards that back post, and he had his man in Eric Holt. And Holt was unable to settle and try to go back post there for a header, and really looking like a positive scoring opportunity there for Real Monarchs.
You know, for that defender, all it takes is that striker to get one half step in front of you, and he has the full advantages, which we saw there. So the defenders have got to be more physical to fight for that early position to make sure that that step is not possible.
A half hour through this one, San Antonio FC, Real Monarchs SLC remains scoreless here. Again, a majority of the chances early on belonging to the home side. Gonzalo Lorenzo twice, once off the frame, and then one time heading one wide, and then Jose Gallegos had a shot attempt parried away by David Ochoa. Cardoni's come down with his only save so far in the match.
And then you've had for San Antonio about 4 free kick opportunities, corners and direct kicks, that they just have to do better with, because you see the one opportunity they have off the corner should have been maybe in the back of the net on that, based on the clarity of the opportunity, and we just have to get our serves in better spots.
A good idea again with Gonzalo Lorenzo making the run up field, and just a little bit beyond his reach, David Ochoa will slow things down. Monarchs last year finishing 4th in the Western Conference, 56 points. Not only was their season marked by winning a USL championship, but they also were the club that snapped Phoenix Rising's 20-game winning streak, the longest winning streak in the history of North American professional soccer. So quite a year for the baby Cobalt and, what is it, Cobalt and Gold? Cobalt and Blue? I'm trying to think. They call Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, but you know, that's the story of so many seasons, is it's just about getting into the playoffs. And certainly home field advantage certainly helps along the way, because Real was not necessarily the best team in the league going into the playoffs. But they got there, and it's about peaking at the right time. And, you know, we saw Phoenix, top team in the league, and suddenly they get into the playoffs, they look flat, they look overconfident.
The claret and cobalt, by the way, that's what I was going for before the Real Monarch faithful start sending us info tips up here in the booth. Well, you can gain access to great benefits by joining the SAFC fan club today. Priority access to single game tickets over the general public. Exclusive merchandise offers, access to members-only contests, promotions, and prizes. Join now at sanantonioFC.com/fan club. And Gonzalo Lorenzo appears as he'll be shown yellow here, as our center referee Chris Ruska has been busy early tonight, as this was the challenge on Sam Brown, second-year player out of Harvard, who's right now down on the pitch, and Lorenzo shown yellow again here in the 34th minute.
I'll tell you, that's a cleat-up tackle. Those are the ones that I'm glad the referee is on top of it for the yellow, but we're a little bit lucky. It could have been closer to a red with the way the cleats came up on it. Cleats didn't have the contact. It was the follow-through, but still the acceleration, and you got to keep your boots down.
So his attention given to Sam Brown. It's been an entertaining first half hour for Gonzalo Lorenzo with the 2 scoring chances, and now into Chris Ruska's books here in the 34th minute, being shown yellow. We mentioned San Antonio FC a little short-handed tonight, including several of the players that fans may be familiar with in terms of returnees from a year ago. Here is the full San Antonio FC injury report for week 1. It's a long one. I wouldn't think it would be this long coming out of the gates, but again, Kai Green, Josh Yarrow, Christian Pirano all out with injury. Leo Torres, who of course is the 16-year-old now, who was San Antonio FC's first Academy Pro signing. He's been out dealing with injury since going back to last season. And you see Zachary Harivo, who spent time with San Antonio FC on loan from the Revolution back in 2017. He is serving the 1-game suspension of a red card he got in the USL playoffs a year ago, which carries over now to the following season here in 2020. And the last note there at the bottom, Dane St. Clair, who is the keeper that was sent out on loan from Minnesota United, the 7th overall pick back in the 2019 Major League Soccer Super Draft. He will share the net this year with Matt Cardoni, and he is still up with Minnesota. And that'll be obviously an interesting dynamic to watch, Tim, between Matt Cardoni, the wily veteran, and Dane St. Clair, the youngster, just 22 years of age.
There's no question when you put from Major League a player on loan, you're expecting them to get playing time because maybe they're not getting playing time at the Major League level. So this is something I'm sure that Matt is very aware of, and this is his moment. This is the time to win games for this club, to establish himself as the guy, as the man. And so when the new keeper comes in, you know, the transition is a little bit slower rather than a position getting pulled out from under you. So it's a big time for Matt.
Oh, he came well off his line on that set piece beyond the 18-yard box to punch that one away. As a throw once again here for Real Monarchs SLC. 36th minute in a scoreless battle early on as Arturo Rodriguez is tackled over on the far side. The player coach you were talking about before, 21 years of age, and the Week 1 MVP on loan now here in Real Monarchs SLC.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame as a coach. You never want to start the season without being fully loaded with all your best personnel. Having injuries in the preseason is something you try to avoid. You are a leg manager. You're trying to create a culture that is intense and competitive, but also safe and making sure you don't lose players. But it happens when you're putting in 2 trainings a day and the preseason games, injuries are going to happen.
A great save by Matt Cardoni as he turns away the attempt from Kyle Coffey. The rebound try was blocked off Noah Powder's foot.
Just a great reaction save. And it's great the defenders, they don't ball watch, they don't freeze, continue to play. There's still danger in your box. Good clearance, but a great sequence.
Sam Brown is not going to continue after that challenge from Gonzalo Lorenzo that took him down, and so we're going to get the first sub here momentarily for Real Monarchs SLC, and Julian Vasquez will substitute in here momentarily.
And you know, that talking about that save, this is what we were talking about earlier, about how you play in your defensive box and your attacking box. Having to be playmakers isn't always about attacking ideas. That's a big play. That's a game-winning type save.
Rodriguez cuts to the middle of the park as he hands it off. Olaski and Eric Holt getting forward. Will play it out wide for Alvin Jones. Jones is that off the hand there and the body of Blake Smith. And Blake Smith going to be shown yellow here, surprisingly, from Chris Ruska. Certainly not intentional, but he'll go into the books here in the 38th minute, and a free kick coming up for Real Monarchs. More off his head, really, than anything else.
I didn't see an arm reach out for it. I think Blake is in his rights on this one.
Might have unintentionally set off the illusion of catching it with his arm more than anything else to the referee, Chris Ruska. So the 10 yards marked off here. And Alvin Jones and Noah Powder both over the ball here.
It's a tough one for defenders because you go for the block. In that case, he's elevating to try and block, but in doing so, your arms spread for balance, and sometimes an arm can get caught. In this particular case, it was not an arm, but for the referee, seeing it from his angle, could think that it caught part of the shoulder there.
Julian Vasquez, the 18-year-old, made 11 appearances last year with 1 goal for Real Monarchs SLC, and one of their 8 academy or homegrown products that are part of this roster. Sam Brown comes out after leaving with injury. And a little bit of momentum for Real Monarchs here, Coach, over the last few minutes. Kind of weathering the early San Antonio FC storm and now showing why they were amongst the best a year ago in the USL.
Right. Again, they have a lot of game experience. They understand the word patience, being on the road. Let's defend well, give up nothing early, and eventually our game will start to unfold.
And they don't mind necessarily giving one up early. They gave up one early in the final a year ago to Louisville City, very early in fact, and then responded with the next 3, begun by Eric Holt, and then Conrad Plua and Noah Powder finishing it off.
And that game was, the championship game was on the road, so winning it on the road like that in a final, they're not going to panic.
Look at the second corner coming up here for Real Monarchs as Powder will go over to take it following the slide tackle out wide from Connor Maloney. San Antonio FC defending a little bit more here over the last few minutes. Noah Powder now with 2 USL Championship titles under his belt, winning last year after winning in 2016 as a member of New York Red Bulls 2. Left-footed outswinger here in this instance. Powder with a delivery to the top of the 6-yard box. Ricochets out to Luke Mulholland. Settled back outside by Ashton Morgan and returned to Powder out wide. Sends this one to the back post and just misses his man. Creeping forward, that was the captain, Taylor P., who nearly had a delivery on goal there.
You know, initially everyone had good marks on the corner, but once the corner was cleared, players lost their mark. And in that particular case, the serve comes back in, and really it was a free player on the back post. Should have done better with it.
Julian Vasquez. As Arturo Rodriguez will get forward here to the corner of the box. Rodriguez goes down inside the area. We play on, and a giveaway by San Antonio FC. This one comes across the 6-yard box and back outside the area. Blake Smith will take it. Gallegos lets that one go through. Solignac. The ball at his feet. The double team comes and might have caught a little bit of cleats up there, and possession conceded here to Monarchs. Kyle Coffey, and a foul called on PC.
Monarchs, you can see in their game plan that when they lose a ball in the midfield, they've got 3 guys going at it, putting it back under pressure. This is what we call counter pressing, where immediately after you lose it, you're sending players to pursue and win it back. And if you don't win it back, it puts the opponent, San Antonio, under such pressure that they can't counterattack, they can't get that next dangerous pass off. They're just lucky to retain possession. So you start to see the elements of the components of some of the things Real is trying to do.
Ochoa looking out of the far wide in Vasquez's direction, but putting it into the stands. San Antonio FC will take the throw. It's Connor Maloney, 24-year-old in his 4th pro season over there by the far touchline. Aiden Partain concedes in the middle of the park. And Rodriguez, you see a little bit of that footwork there here as he creates a little bit of space and a nice give and go there with Olofsky. Arturo Rodriguez off his back foot there. Axel Schuberg, however, with the interception.
I think San Antonio that time did a good job transitioning back. It's one of the issues I saw last year. I mean, we gave up 1.7 goals a game, but had a relentless attack. And it's okay if you're going to make that kind of commitment in the attack to get goals, which they did, and it was brilliant, it was exciting, is the ability that once you lose the ball, where do you go? Where do you recover? How do you cover a player who can't get back? This type of transition into defense after an attack, I think, is going to be vital in getting the goal against average down and winning games with multiple goals, but not losing games with multiple goals.
Pressure coming on PC from Rodriguez. PC will return it to Matt Cardone. That gets behind him, but will stay in the field of play. Coming up at halftime, we're going to have a special guest. Managing Director Tim Holt will join us up here in the broadcast booth and talk about a lot of things with San Antonio FC. Year number 5, which is hard to believe when you think about it here as we celebrate tonight. And we'll also touch on what has really become the sidebar that probably doesn't get enough attention, Tim, the San Antonio FC Academy, which has yet another player out on the field tonight in Jose Gallegos, part of that elite training program. So we'll touch on that and more with Tim Holt coming up in our intermission. This one's delivered inside the box, but well played and easily handled there by David Ochoa. And to your point, game has certainly settled down after that initial fury from both ends. And it looks like we're going to go 0-0 into the locker room here after 45 minutes and see what adjustments both coaches come up with.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about the chances given, the ball that hit off the post by San Antonio could have been the start of the season, 1-0, and now you're in the controlling seat at home. The serves that came off of corners that are getting cut out, you got to break that first line. And then at the other end, their services coming from wide positions, both the corner and then the clearance off the corner, but the serve back in, great chances for them. Either way, this could be a 1-1 game, 2-1, based on the kind of chances they had. But I'm sure both teams aren't going to be happy, and they'll both come out more committed to create better chances, better possession. You know, swing the possession game from side to side to find more space to get penetration closer to the opponent's box.
Kyle Coffey did not like the foul from Mitchell Taintor. Taintor and Chris Rusko with a word here. 3 minutes of added time coming up here at the end of the first half, so maybe I'll hold the phone on 0-0 at halftime with 3 minutes of added time. See what happens here over the next 2.5 plus. A set piece here coming up for Real Monarchs. On opening night, week 1 of the 10th anniversary of the USL Championship season, one of 33 weeks. It will take us into October and eventually crown another champion in November. Good delivery is headed down by Callum Montgomery, settled by Taylor Pete just outside the area. He goes to ground. Arturo Rodriguez will pick it up. Back to Pete, chips it over the top, and trying to let this one ride out there was Maloney, and he will. Julian Vasquez in the vicinity. Did a good job there by Connor Maloney.
Yeah, great composure to use your body and shield off the young Rodriguez as he tries to get to it. And just, be satisfied to kill the clock a little bit, get in the locker room, and get the goal kick out of it.
Matt Cardone last year finished 7th in the championship in saves, tied for 13th with his 7 clean sheets. Sported a 1.69 goals against average. And a foul on Ciliniak. Lucho Ciliniak of Buenos Aires, Argentina. 14th pro season, 29 years of age, but you really think about it, missing a full year and a half, 18 months due to injury. His last full season played just 11 games with the Chicago Fire. 1 assist in that 2018 season. So we'll see how he responds here, returning to play full-time. And obviously 2 hip injury surgeries. No easy feat to come back from, especially with all the running that Alan Marcina expects you're going to do here this year.
Yeah, he's probably the one guy who's thinking to himself when he says, here's put pressure. That's probably not what he wants to hear.
Gallegos, oh, and he just misses. Ciliniak trying to get on the end of it and give San Antonio FC the lead. Gallegos has been crafty here in this first 45 minutes tonight.
Yeah, and what he's looking for there is the cut inside and to look hard, low, far post is classic football when it comes to where to place your shots, where to look for your shots.
And that will take us to halftime. San Antonio FC, Real Monarchs SLC, 0-0 through 45 minutes at Toyota Field. That man, Jose Gallegos, the newest member of San Antonio FC with a first-team contract. It's been a big part so far. Halftime coming up on Fox Sports Southwest.
Come on down to Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel for the final month of the Live Life Lucky Giveaway. Test your luck all March to win some serious cash, up to $100,000. Cash drawings are Saturdays, March 14th and 28th.
Come and play.
Hi, I'm Scott, and I love Chick-fil-A nuggets because the flavor is unparalleled. As soon as you bite into them, you're in a happy place. The seasoning is perfect.
Hey there, I'm Aisha, and my favorite thing about the Chick-fil-A nuggets is how easy you can share them with your friends. They taste fresh, they're crispy, you can taste that every single one is unique. The top tier, best chicken nuggets ever. You guys should put that in the commercial.
Toyota-thon's on. Look at all those Toyotas.
Bet you could get a great deal in there. Yeah, we should go check it out.
Let's go check it out.
Impressive.
Sometimes you just have to snap them out of it a little bit.
Toyota-thon is on. Right now, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus a $1,500 special edition bonus on a new 2019 Tundra Special Edition.
'Tis the season. Toyota-thon is on.
Toyota, let's go places.
The only times that matter in this race are great ones. Do it for the cheers.
Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel invites you to come and play over 3,300 of the best slots and your favorite poker games.
Or you can yell, bingo!
Visit the biggest casino in Texas today.
Come and play.
San Antonio FC Soccer on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Toyota. Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. 0-0 at halftime on opening night, week 1 of the USL Championship. San Antonio FC and the defending USL champions, Real Monarchs SLC. And we welcome you back upstairs to the broadcast booth here. Special guest joining us at halftime. I'm Dan Weiss, Managing Director of San Antonio FC, Tim Holton. Tim has been a part of this operation since day one, so when I say we begin year 5 tonight, what's your reaction?
Makes me feel old. We've been at this a little while now. Time flies, and I think we've made some great progress as a club and as an organization, but the best days are still ahead of us.
So in speaking about that, Alan Marcina making his debut as head coach here tonight. When you were making the change in the offseason and Alan's name came up, what stood out about him? What qualities were you looking at that made him the right guy to lead this group this year?
I think above and beyond everything else, just leadership and character. Alan has that. Obviously, he's got a lot of experience coaching at the professional level, playing at the professional level, doing that, winning a championship here in San Antonio, so he's very familiar with that. He's very familiar with our club in this city. But the leadership characteristics and just his overall character really stood out as we evaluated. A lot of really top coaches, both domestically and internationally. We just felt ultimately Alan was the best fit to lead the program going forward.
And talking with him on Thursday at training, the one thing that stood out to me was that he said, look, we want to build a culture, and we want to build a foundation, and we want to do it right away. We don't want to necessarily do it by week 4 or week 10 of the season. And I think that's really kind of what this program has always been about, and Alan obviously sensing that and now taking it to the next level, correct?
Yes, absolutely. He has a very clear idea and vision of what we want to be. Not just the first team, but as an entire club that's integrated from our academy all the way up through the professional team, how we play, how we act, how we train. All those elements add up to winning and being successful and being the type of club that we want to be. So Alan's a terrific leader. The preseason's been great for us. We're obviously assimilating a lot of new parts on the fly, and I think as you see this team, it'll only get better as the season goes and they get more familiar with each other.
The 18-year-old Jose Gallegos might be the best player on the pitch so far here through 45 minutes. He's a product of the San Antonio FC Academy, which we probably don't speak enough about here, but recognized as the Central Division Academy of the Year last year in U.S. Soccer, the only fully funded academy outside of Major League Soccer. It's made its impact so far. that initial group of players, they are now 16 years old, but playing a year up. It is amazing what that academy has become in such a short amount of time.
It's fantastic. It's something we're very proud of, and it's part of the DNA of this club, which is taking hometown players and giving them a professionalized environment and a clear pathway to the first team from a young age. And that has never existed here in San Antonio. And I think what you're seeing after year 4, and you'll see in years 5, 6, and 7, is that when that occurs, we have players that can play at the highest levels of soccer in this country. And Jose Gallegos is a great example of that. Beyond just a really specially talented young player, he's a terrific kid from a terrific family, very humble, as hardworking as you'll see, and the sky's the limit for Jose. And I think in preseason we had 9 different kids from our pro academy that took part in the preseason, 5 of which have been signed to academy agreements for the first team. And we're just really on the front end of that. I think it's really exciting for us, and as we start to bring all that together and also at the same time compete for championships here in San Antonio.
Tim, congratulations on 5 years. That's a milestone in itself. Best of luck here in 2020.
Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate
Tim Holt, Managing Director of San Antonio FC. We're 0-0 at halftime. San Antonio, Real Monarchs. Tim rejoins me for stats and highlights on the other side.
Come on. Nice and tight here. Bring it in tighter. Nice and tight.
Everything we do matters. Very few people in the world ever get an opportunity like this.
We talked about making history, right? And what are you going to do to change history? When it's your turn to make a tackle, are you going to make that tackle? Are you going to score the goal? Are you going to make the save and throw a few miracles for us? Grab your freaking moments. That's my point.
Huge credit to every one of you. Massive performance coming on, the way that you press, and please for every one of you.
This is an awesome time, and we're going to show them that we're for real. We are for real because we all believe in each other, right? This is our moment. This is our moment to shine.
Every single day, guys, we have to fight to create our identity.
Take your moment within the games and make them your moments. Let's go out there and kick Come on. Go! 1, 2, 3.
Turning on the speed.
Hey guys, how's it going? Kelsey Steele, Scott Stewart here from USLHQ in beautiful Tampa, Florida. How better to get this season going than laying out our top signings
to get a more advanced position on the field?
Sit in. It's Jimmy Oxford!
Himself from attacking the back four, gets that chance to bury it. That gives Earl Edwards Jr. absolutely no chance. Why? Because it's in the top corner. You're never going to have a chance. It's over the wall. It's the perfect.
Popped up Moore with the left.
Oh!
And Moore with the second goal. He now has a brace.
Look at the touch there. That's Soler. Great ball over the top by Wehan. And then how about the shot here?
Halftime at San Antonio's Toyota Field. No score between SAFC and Real Monarchs SC. We'll take a look at first half highlights and the numbers next on Fox Sports Southwest.
Down to Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel for the final month of the Live Life Lucky Giveaway. Test your luck all March to win some serious cash, up to $100,000. Cash drawings are Saturdays, March 14th and 28th.
Come and play.
The only times that matter in this race are great ones. Do it for the cheers.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota. With great deals, get ready to turn your dreams into reality.
During the Ready, Set, Go sales event, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 72 months or $5,000 total bonus on a new 2020 Tundra Special Edition.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today.
Toyota, let's go places.
Kickapoo Luck Eagle Casino Hotel invites you to come and play over 3,300 of the best slots and your favorite poker games.
Or you can yell, bingo!
Visit the biggest casino in Texas today.
Come and play.
With Coach Tim Hankinson, I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Coach, your thoughts on that first 45 minutes?
You know, other than just getting the early jitters out of the way, you know, opening night, a lot of energy is running through people. I think they started to settle their game, starting to find their possession game. Their free kicks on corner kicks were always cut out by the first line of defenders. They have to do better with that. The Monarchs are overloading their defense on one side, so a player like number 6 PC, the ability to collect from one side and switch to the other where you can really find space. And I also think playing two strikers, center backs for years now have had it easy, having to deal with only one striker. But when you play a two-striker system, you want the mobility of those two strikers, get much busier, make runs, check in and out, imbalance that defense to open the door for your teammates to find the back of the net.
Let's take a look at the first half highlights here. And San Antonio FC really got on their front foot early, Tim. A lot of the chances early on in the first quarter hour. You see the opportunity there off the post from Gonzalo to Renzo, and then you have the, again, volley along. Here's Lorenzo again off that back post, just missing with a header.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of service across the box, whether it's by shot or by service. And if we can get the blind side runner coming in there on that far post, I think you can nip goals that way. I think they've shown great discipline in placement of shots and service.
Couple chances for Real Monarchs. That one intended for Eric Hulk. He just misfired. Taylor Pay also had an opportunity later in the half too, but really not much doing. That man, Jose Gallegos, might have had the best 45 minutes of anybody out on the field so far. As we look at the numbers, San Antonio FC 6 shots, but only one of them on target there. And we saw the one from PC off the set piece that was parried away, but you see possession. The game, as you might expect, San Antonio at home has been dominated by them so far.
Right, and you know, we can't get, look into the possession stat too much because you've got a team like the Monarchs sitting back a bit and allowing San Antonio to have the ball and build up. So it's a little bit deceiving. I think the counterattacks by the Monarchs have been dangerous. They have numerical advantage in the wide areas, and so that's something they have to try and exploit. And for San Antonio, like I said, mobility of the strikers, switch the play more, and get that blindside run coming in after services and shots.
4 players sitting on yellow cards as well as we move to the second half. That will come up next on Fox Sports Southwest.
Wow, it's just like a picture. Yippee-ki-yay, retired friend. We got coyote roping. Come on, you varmint. We also have goat yoga. And finally, the Spurs Chug Wagon with all the best HEV Primo picks.
Nice chops, Bruce. Thanks, TP. Here, I made you a plate.
May I present to you your ATV?
I love it here.
HEB Primo Picks. Legendary Texas taste for legendary gatherings.
Where's David? Practicing his axe throwing.
What does adventure feel like? At SeaWorld, it's dropping 100 feet on the tallest and fastest wooden coaster in the state and getting up close with amazing sea animals. Then, racing down an exhilarating double slide water ride, the first of its kind in Texas. Get more amazing thrills than ever before at SeaWorld and Aquatica San Antonio. Buy a SeaWorld annual pass and get Aquatica free. Hurry, offer ends soon. SeaWorld San Antonio, real amazing.
Hi, I'm Scott, and I love Chick-fil-A nuggets because the flavor is unparalleled. As soon as you bite into them, you're in a happy place. The seasoning is perfect.
Hey there, I'm Aisha, and my favorite thing about the Chick-fil-A nuggets is how easy you can share them with your friends. They taste fresh, they're crispy, you can taste that every single one is unique. The top tier, best chicken nuggets ever. You guys should put that in the commercial.
San Antonio FC Soccer on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Toyota. Go to buyatoyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. We begin things in the second half from Toyota Field, 0-0. San Antonio FC, Real Monarchs SLC on opening night here. The 10th anniversary of the USL Championship campaign 2020. San Antonio FC in their home. New primary red, black checkered kits trimmed in white. Real Monarchs SLC in their away white kits trimmed in blue. With the coach Tim Hankinson, our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss. Thanks for joining us here tonight. San Antonio FC trying to continue a trend that you mentioned, Tim, has been favorable to them, getting off on their front foot here at home to open a season, undefeated.
Yeah, the confidence you have in a stadium like this with, really the best fanfare in the league gives such confidence to a team that when the whistle blows and they come out here and play, I mean, that carpet out there, that field is as perfect as it can be. So players are excited to be here, and they're going to take pride in coming away with a result tonight.
Gallegos making the run. Blake Smith sending it to the back post, getting up there. Settled as Soliniak found Hayden Partain, and his drive was blocked aside and then cleared out of harm's way. It'll be a throw here coming up for San Antonio.
Much better service by San Antonio, clearing that first line of defenders.
Almost a handball there inside as well, as Partain got that delivery off his right foot. Tainer, as he looks in Blake Smith's direction. Instead, Noah Powder will send it forward for Real Monarchs.
Yeah, this is where I'd like PC, number 6, in the number 6 position, to be more active, to help make himself available to get the ball off defenders, switch the play up. Like I said, he's got great service, so he doesn't have to always make the short pass. He can open up the game for San Antonio. But he's got to get on the ball.
Last year playing with the Vancouver Whitecaps, 34 appearances in Major League Soccer in his career, 18 appearances last year in Vancouver. And a giveaway by San Antonio here on their side of the field. Kyle Coffey, he's run over from behind as the ball settled by Eric Holt. And Luke Mulholland now maneuvers it over. Julian Vasquez making the run, overlapping here is Ashton Morgan. Morgan with a cross, top of the 6, and headed out of danger's way. Vasquez trying to come back on the ball is run down by Dorenzo, already sitting on a yellow. Dorenzo and Blake Smith sitting on yellows for San Antonio FC. Eric Holt, Luke Mulholland sitting on yellows for Real Monarchs SLC as we begin things in the second half. Luke Mulholland will take the free kick, 31-year-old in his 10th pro season. 123 appearances with Real Salt Lake over the last few years, 16 goals. And another throw here as Gallegos heads that one over the touchline. Ashton Morgan looks in Vasquez's direction. He can't catch up to that. San Antonio FC with a goal kick.
So here also you see Monarchs stepping up. Their 2 center forwards right at the 18-yard line, making sure that they can't play short out, forcing Cardone to play the long service, which is a 50-50 ball, just forcing him into turning it over.
That'll be Milan Alaski, Kyle Coffey. Alaski, who was the Pac-12's leading goal scorer last season at UCLA, 17 goals in just 16 matches. As Dorenzo will earn the free kick after initially playing the advantage.
Mulholland did nip him. It was good by the referee. Tried to let it play on, but when he saw the player could not continue, then the foul counted.
PC whips that one in, headed, but right on frame. That was Axel Schuberg who got under that one, making the move forward at 6-7 now as he hustles back to his defensive side of the field.
But better service by PC, as we've talked about.
Kyle Coffey Turning forward, Arturo Rodriguez. And Real Monarchs will switch the play across here. Julian Vasquez will get under this one. Pressure coming from Connor Maloney. That's what we said about San Antonio FC. They're going to pressure on and pressure off the ball. Real Monarchs SLC just trying to find the spaces in between that pressure to send bodies forward.
Yeah, it's just breaking lines, breaking the line of pressure with the next pass. And here comes San Antonio trying to put pressure higher, force turnovers.
Tainer wins that battle. Schuberg will get under this one. Morgan heads forward. Tainer collides with Coffey. We play on. Gallego settles, and he'll get forward. Connor Maloney behind him. Out wide, Seliniak. Gallegos. Rodriguez holding off him.
This is again where you wish you could freeze the game and watch how many Monarch white shirts are over near the ball, and the ability to get your head up as a San Antonio player, find a central player, switch to the other side. Lots of space is going to get the penetration and put you in shooting position or dangerous crossing positions.
And Gallegos earns the free kick, and again, right-footed Partain, left-footed PC over the ball here for SAFC. Alan Marcina barking out directions from the sideline.
And I think it's great they've made this adjustment to allow PC the chance to do the serving.
That service in low comes to the opposite corner and then played behind Blake Smith. He'll go back and chase it down and then looks in Callum Montgomery's direction, but just a little bit beyond his reach. Alvin Jones goes over to take the throw. Nearly a giveaway by Monarchs, and they nearly had a second. They'll keep possession here momentarily.
It's one of the triggers usually when the opposing team has a throw-in in their defensive end. Triggers are visual signs or tactical signs to go pressure. And we saw them key that just then and force the turnover. And San Antonio, with just a little bit of extra work, finds himself back in control.
Montgomery. Dorenzo. Serves it off here, Gallegos. Maneuvers his way around the defense. Good ball into the top of the six, headed! They'll call a foul first on Seliniak, pushing off on, I believe that was Taylor Pay. The save was made by Ochoa, but Seliniak called for the foul beforehand.
But a great build-up. Again, it started with the pressure on the throw-in to regain possession, and then to swing it around and create the one-on-one situation that led to the cross. It's good football being played right now.
Smith keeps it alive momentarily out by the touchline. San Antonio. Gallegos, good touch. Maloney getting forward. Gallegos. Cross, Ochoa slides across the face of goal to make the save.
It's what we talked about earlier, looking for that blindside run coming into the back post. They obviously have worked on this. They see it. They're all looking for it. Just a matter of timing, right placement. The goal will come.
And again, San Antonio, like they did in the opening quarter hour of the match, getting out early here with the chances to begin things in the second half. The Monarchs have done well. Connor Maloney unable to run this one down. San Antonio FC substitutes getting loose, as you see off in the corner there.
You can see San Antonio, again, the trigger to step up and pressure on throw-ins in the defensive half of the Monarchs. Try and win the ball here, and you're a pass away from goal.
And of the substitutes in the 18 tonight, because of all the injuries, you have 3 players that are academy players on academy tryout contracts here tonight. Carlos Mercado, Josh Ramsey, Sebastian Mercado. And that might be more typical this season. See some of these academy players get featured in the 18. Play the advantage for SAFC here after Partain was taken down in the middle of the park.
And there you saw the switch of play, which was what we've been talking about. Find space on the weak side after an overload. Defensive effort by Monarchs is going to give you a lot more room to play and get closer to goal. I'll tell you, as a coach, it's a very exciting moment when you can introduce a young academy player into his first contract, into the first time he enters the field as a pro. And I will tell you, the loyalty that those young players, if you're the guy who gave him his first shot, have to you the rest of the way, it lasts a lifetime. And so, you know, Alan would be smart to, at some point, you know, inject that energy, that youth, and introduce a young player into his pro career.
On the other side, it appears Real Monarchs getting set to make their second substitute momentarily, and it'll likely be one of their best returning playmakers from a year ago, Jack Blake. And a corner coming up here for San Antonio FC is Blake down at the Real Monarchs bench getting instructions.
And I'll tell you, as Blake enters the game, this is a center midfielder with tremendous experience and gamesmanship. His professionalism will start to change how the Monarchs are playing.
Good ball in, comes back out. Blake Smith gives it a go. Clearance made by Eric Holt. San Antonio FC with the throw. And Jack Blake, the 25-year-old, getting set to make his 47th all-time appearance as a member of Real Monarchs SLC. Last year, including the playoffs, finishing with 11 goals, 3 of which came in the postseason run, over 29 appearances with the club. And he'll wait a few more seconds here.
It's also, from a coaching standpoint, having a player like Blake, who has that level of experience, who has driven this team through a championship last year. You know, 12 minutes ago, you were giving instruction at halftime to your club in the locker room. They come out, they start to apply that, and now comes basically a coach on the field with some final thoughts and adjustments that he'll be sharing with them as the game starts to pick up. And that's just a great tool to be able to have as a coach at your fingertips like that. Sometimes we look at our bench and saying, really, who's going to help us? You know, or if I give him this information, he's not got the ability to translate that across the field. So this is probably a very important step for Monarchs' game tonight to inject him into the lineup.
So the Nottingham, England native coming off the bench tonight makes his season debut, takes out Kyle Coffey. SAFC concedes possession, and we'll earn the throw here for Real Monarchs SLC. Noah Powder coming forward. Taylor Pay. As Powder went down, he'll earn the foul.
PC being aggressive in the tackle, but understand that's his job. That's part of his job description, because that number 6, the defensive midfielder who sits in front of the defenders in the back, is that first line of disruption. And so that's what he did in doing that. Maybe too close to our box, but that's his job.
Powder and Alvin Jones over the ball. It'll be Powder. Chips this one in. Axel Schuberg at 6'7" gets up. Blake brings it down. First go. And just wide of goal. And deflected on its way out, will result in a corner. Third one of the night coming up for Real Monarchs SLC.
This is where I'd like to see Cardone become dominant. I mean, at 6'3", he's an enormous athlete. You know, these balls are flighted into the box, and maybe that one's difficult, but I'd like to see him become dominant. Give us a lot of confidence to his defenders to know that the big man is coming out for it.
Nearly 1 hour through the match, 0-0 here at Toyota Field. And for week one, it's been well played by both sides. Both sides, once again, with lofty aspirations here in 2020. Real Monarchs SLC trying to go back-to-back. San Antonio FC, which has missed the playoffs in 3 of 4 years that they've been in the USL. Trying to change the narrative a little bit under new head coach Alan Marcina. The reset here for Monarchs. And Renzo kind of stood in front there of Jack Blake, looking to send this one forward. He's got to be careful a little bit against sitting on a yellow.
Yeah. How you manage the last 30 minutes, keeping your heads in the game, keeping players on the field.
Taylor Pay to the top of the 18. Schubert gets up first. Jack Blake will take the throw here.
You can see San Antonio overloading defensively that side of the field. Every dark shirt is in that side, and therefore the opportunity for the Monarchs to play out of that side and switch and find space to attack is certainly there for them. They just haven't found it yet.
Great ball from Schubert, finding Connor Maloney along the touchline. Couldn't control ahead of him, though, Julian Vasquez. Bad giveaway. Oh, boy, that had all the makings of a bad giveaway right there. Monarchs get away with one. PC fighting for the ball at center. Blake. Good tackle there from Montgomery. Blake Smith will return to Callum Montgomery. And back to Axel Schubert. Here's Tainer. Again looking in Connor Maloney's direction. Solignac instead brings it down. Off his back foot, Solignac to Jose Gallegos. Edge of the box. Set up here. As it was deflected out, running at it was Blake Smith, but instead here's the counter for Real Monarchs. Out wide on the right flank, Holoski. Tainer is down. Monarchs looking to move forward here while Tainer is struggling to get to his feet. Well, that's the sportsmanship-like play there.
Yeah, it is a sportsmanship-like play, and I like it in the game. Players, it's showing mutual respect for an opponent, but also a colleague at the game, a fellow professional player.
So Mitchell Tainer down on the field. He'll get some attention. San Antonio FC is going to get set to make their first substitution of the match here. And it will be the next Argentinian up, basically, Tim. Ignacio Bailoni.
Yeah, we've had the Tres Amigos.
26-year-old from Rosario, Argentina. And he will take out Gonzalo Lorenzo, also from Argentina. And his hometown, Tim, might sound familiar to some San Antonio fans. Bahia Blanca, Argentina.
Right.
It's also the hometown of one Emmanuel Ginobili. So as Ignacio Bailoni gets set to come in, he's also a product of the Club Atlético Lanús program from 2012 to 2016. Last year playing in Chacarita, 4 appearances, and over his career, 6 goals in 51 matches. Big striker at 6'3", 176. Well, download the official San Antonio FC app, which is available right now on the Apple App Store and Google Play. You can purchase and manage your tickets, earn points to redeem prizes, and submit photos to be featured in-game and more.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, is having 3 players from the same country. When you have international players coming in, how quickly they adapt is so crucial, because if they take a long time to adapt to new food, where do I shop, banking, where do I get a cell phone, all of these things, who are my new teammates, the longer it takes for them to gain confidence and apply their game. The fact that you have 3 players, even though they may not know each other originally from Argentina or from the same club, there are certain elements that are going to make them very comfortable in embracing San Antonio.
Well, a great SAFC debut from Gonzalo Lorenzo. Not only a couple of scoring opportunities, but also on top of that, a little bit of physical play too. You kind of like what he brings to the table, Coach, as a guy who, really you can interchange in a lot of spots there in your shape.
No question. I like the size and athleticism of this team. They've got some big guys that can handle the aerial game and play physically.
Olaski went down. We play on. Jack Blake making the turn. Vasquez back to Arturo Rodriguez. Kept it moving, but gave it right to SAFC and PC. Up to Gallegos. Here's the counter. A heavy tackle there on Gallegos from Ashton Morgan. And Chris Ruska reaching towards his back pocket.
They can't be thinking, Red, this could be a yellow. I feel that the defender went in to the tackle and met ball head on. And I think that maybe a little bit of exaggeration in how the attacking player felt. But a yellow's appropriate. Keep control of what's going on out there.
They came in a little late.
It was late.
And that's maybe why the fans were not happy that Morgan was only shown yellow. Certainly the reactive aftermath probably only added to that as well, too. Gallegos got a little bit of attention down on the field, and he's back up to his feet.
That's good to see. Get back in the game, shake it off.
He's played well here tonight.
I would agree with you. He's been the guy that has been collecting the ball around the center circle and driving at the Monarch defense.
That's exactly the way I would phrase it. He's been driving their attack tonight.
I think a young player like that, as defenders collapse on you.
Service into the box, brought down, and they'll come out. Gallegos settles, returns to Partain. Gets it out wide. Blake Smith chips one in. With contact, Seliniak brings it down. Cross! It's in! SAFC has the first goal of the season!
How exciting. And I was trying to make that point about Gallegos being a young player. As defenders collect around you, your ability to find the open man. And that's exactly what happened as that ball came back out. He found his central midfielder, switched to the other side, and balls through the box, leading to a goal.
Seliniak the cross, Callum Montgomery the finish. San Antonio FC's on the board.
You know, it's a great goal. A lot of players involved in the build-up of that. But I also look at the Monarch defenders and how they switched off. That ball came across and received, and they're all ball watching, not staying with their man, not staying in the marks, and switching off like that is going to lead to unfortunate goals like that for them. But now the advantage is San Antonio. And with 20 minutes left, it's really going to come down to how you manage the clock, how you manage to play from here.
Callum Montgomery, 3 goals last year playing with North Texas SC in League One in 22 appearances, has his first goal in USL Championship play in the 68th minute. Off that Seliniak cross, will pick up the assist, and we give Blake Smith the hockey assist, the second assist on that delivery over to Seliniak from the opposite corner. San Antonio FC, the first goal of the season. Now a corner delivered by Noah Powder. Montgomery, Jack Blake coming across. Gallegos settles. Maloney getting forward. Partain goes down, and then Connor Maloney run off the ball. And that'll be a foul. And what essentially will be a corner opportunity just from a few yards a little closer.
Another opportunity where Gallegos is just running the show at this point.
You can see guys shouting out like a corner, like a corner. That's pretty much exactly what it is. Again,
Right.
just a few yards, a little bit closer from that stick.
And also making sure defensively you're covering yourself like you would on a corner.
To that back post and put wide of frame.
Outstanding service.
And again, that was Callum Montgomery off that back post there.
Yeah, probably needed to take a step forward to attack it rather than a step back. You lose a lot of your power and ability to redirect. But hey, we're up 1-0, right?
And that's all that matters. Callum Montgomery, the native of Victoria, British Columbia, played his collegiate soccer at UNC Charlotte, where 2 years ago he was the Conference USA Defender of the Year. 3 goals over 73 career matches. We'll see if the Monarchs have an answer. Julian Vasquez. Out wide, Ashton Morgan. Return Vasquez. Inside the area to that back post and headed away. Powder gets up and goes over his man for the foul as Blake Smith gets to his feet.
Yeah, not the best judgment. Yeah, the defender's in a bad position to do anything with that ball. There's no reason to give up that foul. Just be patient, stay close, and see where the ball drops. See if you can take advantage of it then.
As we approach the final quarter hour of the match here, SAFC playing with the lead. Last year, San Antonio FC, when they scored the opening goal, they did it 16 times over 34 matches. Won 11 of those matches, going 11 wins against 4 draws, 1 defeat.
This is one of the things we talked about as far as working on concepts to all be on the same page in the preseason. Often in training, you'll take the final part of a scrimmage inter-squad, and you will be talking to the players about, all right, this group is a goal up, this group is a goal down. What are your group tactics to deal with that? One group has got to be pressuring, the other group has got to be patient, work the clock, keep possession. And as the team that is down starts to get anxious because they are a goal down, they will start to overcommit players, take more risk, and that is going to leave the door open for maybe that second goal on a counterattack. But making sure players understand this at this point in the game and that we're not trying to play 2 different ways out there. And being a new group to each other, this is going to be very interesting to measure how they handle the final 15.
Montgomery, the goal scorer, in possession. Axel Schuberg. Mitchell Tainer.
And I'm a little bit surprised Monarchs being a goal down or being overly patient.
Well, letting the back 3 for San Antonio FC pretty much play at will here. We've killed at least a minute or so. And now thinking about getting forward here as Bailoni tried to make the run. Eric Holt. Ashton Morgan. Vasquez up the touchline. Good recovery from Tainer. Partain, Connor Maloney.
This is where I'm looking at Monarchs' attempt to pressure. And pressure is about, an acceleration to force the opponent with the ball to have to play backwards or force them into a mistake. Unfortunately, the pressure that Monarchs were applying was almost a slow jog. I refer to it as fake pressure. It's giving the impression you're pressuring, but you're really not getting anything done. For them to be able to win the ball there and equalize, it's going to have to be much more aggressive in the final 15 minutes to force turnovers.
As they continue to work Vasquez's direction on the left touchline. Here's Jack Blake. Mulholland up top. switch the play. Alvin Jones and Noah Powder now working on the far side. Powder against two, runs through him, bounces off the tackle, cleared off the line, delivered back in. Jack Blake gives it a go and puts it to the top of section 115.
It's a good setup, a lot of composure, a lot of patience with the Monarchs setting up that shot. Blake looked like he just leaned a little bit to the left and a little bit back and got underneath the ball. Better luck next time.
Eric Holt under the ball first. San Antonio FC back in possession, up a goal. Final quarter hour on opening night. Taylor Pay up top. Volleyed along there by Blake. Like Miloski would have been in an offside position anyway had he come down with it.
Again, Monarchs basically defending the middle third of the field, not really applying aggressive pressure. It's almost allowing San Antonio to play out of the back.
Bailoni gets up top. Solignac. Great block from Taylor Pay. Kind of went stride for stride there with Lucho Solignac in that situation. And a giveaway by San Antonio. Vasquez. Arturo Rodriguez. Vasquez made that run, but Rodriguez's pass never got through. Gallegos will get back to the ball here. Plenty of daylight in the middle of the field. And back to patience and poise for San Antonio FC here.
Yeah, it's as if the Monarchs are going to be patient, look for that entry pass by San Antonio, win it, and then catch San Antonio in a bad defensive spot and look to counterattack off of it. But playing that way is going to give you fewer chances along the way versus stepping up higher and being more aggressive.
Blake dispossesses Gallegos of the ball, but San Antonio FC back in possession. Connor Maloney spins away from Jack Blake, and he's able to get it through Oloski back to Schubert. Hayden Partain, a good find up on that left sideline there. Solignac, edge of the box, running on Taylor Pay. And we'll pull it back out here.
Good patience. Don't force a ball into the box that's not ready to be delivered there. Keep possession. Keep the clock running. As long as we possess, we're not threatened by a goal.
Blake was thinking turn before he had the ball completely. And a throw coming up for San Antonio FC. Final substitute of the night. Arturo Rodriguez will come out, and another youngster, Damian Herman. Had 3 goals last year in just 10 appearances for Real Monarchs. 31 goals playing in Real Salt Lake's academy. Native of Phoenix, Arizona, into the game here in the final quarter hour.
And Monarchs have entered a player that is an athlete. He's fresh, putting himself in a position to pressure higher, pressure more aggressively. It's also a time that Monarchs, in order to get back in the game, have got to start taking more risk. And that's the door we're looking to open. See if we can get that second goal.
Pressure from Powder getting very high. San Antonio FC able to alleviate it. PC volleying it forward. Solignac. Gallegos. Just can't get through Luke Mulholland. That gets through Connor Maloney, but it dribbles over the touchline. Vasquez quickly going here on the throw as we come upon the final 10 minutes, whatever added time.
You see the big center backs going forward, looking for a launch into the box, hoping for a knockdown, hoping for a flick.
It's Taylor Pay at the edge of the 18, Ashton Morgan, Luke Mulholland, and now across it comes. Not the best delivery there by
very poor execution.
Alvin Jones, and it'll turn into a pretty good-looking counter for San Antonio. Numbers upfield. PC running forward unattended, and Seliniak just could never deliver him the ball.
Yeah, and with your two center backs committed forward, just bad service by Monarchs. It's one of those as a coach, you're shaking your head and saying, come on, we have to be smarter than this. Our use of the ball has got to be better quality.
Tainer, find Connor Maloney. Schubert with pressure coming from Herman. Back to Cardoni.
Almost got to it.
Mulholland brings it down. Blake. Not sure he realized Noah Powder was as close as he was to him as they played that touch along. Well, these were tense moments last year for the Toyota Field faithful. Final 10 or 15 minutes. The SAFC trying to protect leads. And certainly that, I think, feelings crept in a little bit here tonight for the home side too.
Yeah, I would think pretty soon, I mean, with 10 minutes plus extra time, you'd see the Monarchs drop a defender and go with a back three, strengthen up the midfield, trying to win the ball back sooner. They've already made the commitment with 3 players up top. You don't need another one there. All it's going to do is clog the space. But you'd like to see some attempt by the Monarchs to reshape themselves in the final 10 minutes to try and equalize.
Alvin Jones returns to Ochoa. Schubert. Challenge from Jack Blake there on PC. A free kick awarded to San Antonio and a yellow to Jack Blake here in the 82nd minute.
I'm not sure it was the first boot, but it was the second boot sweeping in behind him.
So as PC lays on the pitch,
eating as much clock as possible, I'm sure.
San Antonio FC trying to see through the final 8 minutes and whatever added time remaining. Kyle Montgomery in the 68th minute, as we'll see it again. Really set up by 2 excellent plays. One from Blake Smith on the corner delivery right there. Settled by Seliniak. One touch across. And Montgomery, the recipient, off his left boot there, Coach.
Yeah, again, something that the Monarchs coach, Olave, will be taking in and showing on film about how that cross overplayed the penalty box. And all the defenders turn to follow that, but they lose their marks and they switch off for that moment. And San Antonio took advantage of it. Good for us.
And with a tough opponent here on week 1, you knew it was certainly going to be a challenge for San Antonio FC.
Clearly, with all the injuries and lineup adjustments, this has been a great start tonight. Anytime you play against, I've always said to be a champion, you have to beat the champions. And to be able to do that, opening game of the season, it locks in what we were talking about in pregame, the confidence, the tactical plan. Everyone leaves a game like this saying, yeah, we know what we're doing, we know we can win now, and let's get on to the next one. And so this is the perfect start for the new coach and for this team.
And certainly will only become better once guys like Pirano, Josh Yarrow, Kai Green return to the lineup. Kai Green, it's ironic that he misses tonight, Coach, because he played every single minute last year for San Antonio FC. The first player in the history of the club to do that, so needless to say, that will not be a feat repeated twice.
Yeah, I think what's going to be fun is when I watched the team last year under Coach Powell is they had 2 attacking midfielders behind the forward, and these guys were active, they were busy, they were dynamic, they were switching, interchanging positions. I think that if you can find a way to get Gallegos and Pirano, when he's healthy and back on the field, that dynamic of those two is going to be tough to stop.
This will be a goal kick awarded to David Ochoa. As time starting to wind down on the Monarchs. Who had to win twice on the road en route to the championship, despite in the regular season only winning 5 times on the road. 5 wins, 8 losses, 4 draws. Gallegos. As San Antonio looks for the insurance, and
yeah, I think next week the first road game, I think one of the advantages this team has over last year, when it couldn't find the success it wanted on the road, is some of this MLS experience. We've got a lot of players that have been at a high league, and I think that experience and composure is going to weigh very heavily in finding a way to be successful on the road.
It's a challenging start to the season for San Antonio FC, who next week has to travel to Colorado Springs, which is no easy feat, regardless of what roster Colorado Springs puts together, as we'll get the foul on Salignac here, because you're playing at altitude, and that has always been a challenge for any opponent, particularly San Antonio FC, which traditionally has never had any luck at Weidner Field out in Colorado Springs. And then you come back home on the 21st, and you got to play the team that, even though Real Monarchs won the championship, Phoenix Rising FC was arguably the best team in the USL a year ago. And so you get them in week 3.
Yeah, I think to your first point is, I coach the Colorado Rapids in MLS. So, our preparation to get altitude is our best friend, And you'd see teams like Columbus Crew coming in and ordering the day before a oxygen tank for their locker room, telling us, hey, they're already mentally done in this. And so you have to learn to play there as a visiting team, knowing you don't have the hemoglobin built up, which is the oxygen carrier that when you train at altitude all the time, you're more equipped physiologically for. So you have to go there and be a very patient defensive team. Don't chase the game. Take care of the ball, good possession, so that you keep the ball more than the opponent does, keeping you out of those pressuring situations. I think that will be a big challenge for them. I also know that you could still have snow next week.
Yeah, that's true too. We seem to have this big warming trend going on across the country. So,
yeah. And to your second point, having to then go up against Phoenix, just like San Antonio is highly motivated knowing they missed the playoffs by a point. That is going to stick in their head as a reminder every game of how much every point counts. And yet you look at Phoenix, who can look at themselves and remind themselves every game, we were the best team, but when it counted the most, we didn't come to play.
Yeah.
And I have to believe they're going to be very motivated to get off to a great start and reestablish their position at the top of the league.
Real Monarchs SLC will play their home opener next week at Zions Bank Stadium against Phoenix Rising FC. So potentially already one in the L column here, depending on how these final few minutes play out. And then playing Phoenix Rising for your home opener.
Well, and I
could
think
be a troubling start.
Yeah, I think also for Coach Marcina and his staff, when you can see Phoenix against a team you've just played, and that matchup, you have a cleaner sense of what is breaking down, what's working, what's not working. So your preparation, I think, has a chance through film study to be much more enhanced because of that direct comparison you've just experienced.
Well, Marcina just minutes away at this point of winning in his head coaching debut here with San Antonio FC. An assistant to Darren Powell a year ago, taking over the reins this year. And
I give Alan a lot of credit. He has changed the makeup of this roster, coming in with a different style and approach. This is clearly his team. It's not last year's team. And so this is all his making, and credit to him and his staff and Tim Holt, bringing in the experience that they have, but also the great belief and confidence they show in young players that have come up through the academy system. That combination of experience with the energy of youth is really the magic that makes great teams.
And that's Seliniak, who's down on the pitch over on the far side. And I guess what's interesting, Coach, you talked about how Allen wants to play in terms of being aggressive, pressing, with and without the ball is really how he's looking at it, a kind of a one-on-one press, so to speak. You're running so much. Speaks maybe to the fact that they've only used one substitute tonight, too. Right. Talking about the conditioning and the fitness of the group here coming into week 1 of the regular season. I think that also maybe might be an important side note here to consider, too.
Yeah, his first background getting into coaching was as a performance coach. So he's had very high-level training on how to manage legs, how to get them into peak form. And, that you can look at some of the injuries and say, well, maybe the team pushed too hard, too soon. But injuries are injuries, and he's got this group ready to play. I will say that we expected a little bit more pressure.
Cardoni gives it up, and San Antonio FC fortunate to come away and clear it out. Cardoni had it. He toppled over his own defender there, and that ball was sitting inside the box dangerously. Almost disaster for San Antonio.
The game is never over.
Yeah, simple gaff. For as well as they've played, that could have erased a lot of the goodwill that's been generated here tonight. His delivery upfield, Herman making the run, and it'll ride out. And we'll see the second substitute on that note, right on cue, Jesus Enriquez.
Yeah, these are also tactical substitutions because normally once the extra time has been given by the referee, if you make a substitute once that clock of extra time has begun, it's very rare they're going to add additional time. So this is a great time killer to bring a player into the game.
So Enriquez will come on for, it was originally going to be Jose Gallegos, and now it looks like it's going to be for Seliniak, after Seliniak went down just a few moments ago. And Gallegos making the run as Seliniak is down again. And Ochoa. Upfield, Ashton Morgan. Seliniak can right now barely hobble off here. Meanwhile, Callum Montgomery over with Ashton Morgan back inside the final third of the field in front of David Ochoa. Had words momentarily.
Again, has to be very careful with the yellow card late in the game. All it takes is a lineman to see the fouls taking place off the ball.
And Noah Powder shown yellow here for the tackle on, and
start the season with a red card.
I believe was sent off too.
Yeah. Well, these are the frustrations, defending champions and coming to this game thinking highly of yourself, and then things aren't going your way. And then it becomes late in the game and things get a bit choppy. Players have got to stay composed. It's a long season. They need you next week. I mean, something we've not talked about tonight, but leadership, and who's going to be your captain, who's going to be your guy at a moment like this, keeps the calm, and make sure that guys don't end up in the red card situation.
Seliniak will come off here, and again his assist to Callum Montgomery is the reason San Antonio FC is potentially on their way to 3 points on opening night, as Seliniak gives up the armband to PC. And Jesus Enriquez will make his SAFC debut. 22-year-old, played the last couple seasons with SAFC rival RGV Toros FC.
But Luis showed his composure, his qualities, playing at the striker position tonight.
Enriquez first touch here. To come up with a scoring opportunity. Bailone went down inside the area. And Real Monarchs as we're already 4.5 minutes into the allotted 5 of stoppage time here. Taylor Pay getting forward quickly. Pay putting it out wide again. Monarchs down a man here for the closing minutes. Alvin Jones looking to that back post, headed out. And Real will at least have one more good opportunity here to try to build something up here for a late equalizing goal at the death.
Got to get the serve in the box.
Jack Blake off of Hayden Partain will just boom that one into the seats. Vasquez will leave it here to Ashton Morgan. Morgan looking at that back post. That's going to loft to Cardone. That should do it.
That's it. That's what we were saying before. Be the dominant figure in the air.
Cardone sitting on the ball. Chris Rusco saying, let's play on. Alan Marcina pointing at his watch.
That's right, Coach. Just got to get the ball back in play, and then we'll see a whistle. There it is.
San Antonio FC is a winner on opening night, and they make a winner out of Alan Marcina in his debut at the helm behind the red and black, as Callum Montgomery's goal in the second half is the difference, and SAFC pockets 3 points in week 1 of the USL Championship.
Kudos, San Antonio. Great night for the coach. Everything he's worked for through the entire preseason, you know, coming alive tonight. A great unity by the team and the fight, and the fans are into it. It's a great start to the season. Can't wait to see the next one.
The 16th clean sheet in Matt Cardone's career as a member of San Antonio FC, and Jose Gallegos driving the attack all night. Your club season continues next Saturday as the team travels out west to take on Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC at Weidner Field. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. You can watch all the action live at SanAntonioFC.com. Now, for the coach, Tim Hankins, and our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss, thanking you for joining us. Final from Toyota Field, San Antonio FC 1, Real Monarchs SLC 0. This has been a presentation of the USL and Spurs Sports and Entertainment. So long, everybody.
This copyrighted United Soccer League Championship is not transmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.